Hey, what's up? My name's Grant Kanoki. I'm a singer, songwriter, producer, and artist, and you're listening to Power 98.5.
We don't play the social game. We are social. Power 98.5.
Hi, this is Dan Aykroyd. He's progressive. He's beautiful. He's thoughtful. He's intelligent. He's powerful. He's positive. He is Stephen Cuoco on Power 98.5 Satellite Radio.
You're listening to Power 98.5, powered by United Angels Dream, your number one resource for public relations, entertainment, and multimedia. Contact them today at unitedangelsdream.com.
Empowering listeners from the US to the UK. Live on air with Stephen Cuoco.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from here and all around the world. I'm Stephen Cuoco, and you are listening to Live on Air with Stephen Cuoco on Power 98.5 Satellite Radio. Head on over to the Power 98.5 website at power985.com. Click the bottom right-hand icon. If you've got any questions, if you've got, comments, any type of love, anything you want to share, send that on over to us. My team will contact me, and we will obtain those direct messages of all of the greatest and latest of what you love most here on Power 98.5. You can download the iOS or Android app, tune in on Alexa, listen anywhere in your car, in your home, anywhere that you're at in the world. We also stream live on Streamitter, Streama, MyTuner, Live FM Radio, and more. 200 countries and counting. And we're truly excited. Thank you for all the love and support here at Power 98.5. Also, as you all know, I've been doing a lot more self-promotion, something that was not something I was comfortable doing, something I never really had to do since most people know me by word of mouth or having had been in the industry for over 30 years, okay? Just hit my 30-year mark. I may be coming up to 31 this coming year. Once again, over 30 years in public relations and media. If you've got any questions, you want any inside tips, I always say, you know what? I'm the WikiLeaks of public relations. Head on over to StephenCuoco.com. That's StephenCuoco.com. Once again, I put people first, not money first. That's what separates me from everyone else in the industry. Also, I am the first and only public relations representative. My company, United Angels Dream, that owns a broadcasting media company, the first to launch a satellite radio station where my reach is in 200 countries. Big shout out to my team in Manchester, UK, and New York City. Currently here in Las Vegas, Nevada, just finished up on some projects with my client and with a major film production. And I'm still here. I don't think I'm going to be going back to the Northeast anytime soon. Too darn cold. It's 45 degrees outside right now. Yeah, it's going to get even worse there. And after having over 3 feet of snow back in 2020, I believe it was the last winter I was there in the Northeast. I'm done. Even though I had the opportunity to borrow my neighbor's snowblower, which helped tremendously, the idea of another 3 feet or picking up a shovel is not going to happen. Even if I'm able to hire somebody and pay him $25 an hour to go shovel, I just don't want to deal with it. Defrosting my car, everyone knows I love a decaf iced Americano. I enjoy my iced coffee even in winter time. I still drink it. I do not like hot drinks unless it's hot chocolate. But other than that, we're just going to stay here nice and cozy in Las Vegas unless I'm going to be, traveling somewhere else. And as you all know, we've got my good friend. I've known him for, probably I'm going to say year and a half, if not going on 2 years. We've got actor Andrew Walker here. If he decides that he wants to go to a warm place, I'm going to go there with him if he doesn't mind, whether it's Fiji or wherever it's, wherever. I mean, I'm seeing people posting, summer style photos online or still on Instagram. And it's like, okay, it's got to be summer somewhere. So, you know what, go ahead and invite me. I'll enjoy a nice, mimosa on that yacht. Let's have some surf and turf. Love me some good lobster, and let's make it a party. Once again, we've got actor Andrew Walker. We're going to be talking about, he's been on the show before. Great to have him back on again. His new film, A Maple Valley Christmas, it actually premieres today. This is what I love most in public relations and media, is to be able to gift and give someone like Andrew, his team, his family, these are jobs we're talking about, to highlight who they are and what they're doing in the industry. Because once again, these are jobs we're talking about, people's lives, and how important it is for us in our industry to be able to showcase and to offer, to our listeners here and all around the world, someone like Andrew and these incredible films that he does. Once again, A Maple Valley Christmas premieres tonight at 10 p.m., 9 Central. It's on the Hallmark channel. Once again, it's called A Maple Valley Christmas. We're going to do a live drop of the trailer of the film. And also there's a great, exceptional video audio clip over on Andrew's Instagram. And you can head on over to his Instagram at AWALKK35. Andrew, good morning. I mean, you went all the way from Montreal to Los Angeles, and you're in, like, it seems like hundreds of Hallmark films. Your resume is just absolutely stellar, and it's never ending. And even through the pandemic, you're still making great moves in a world of film and acting.
How you doing, Stephen? Thank you so much for having me on, first and foremost, and hello to all the listeners out there. Thankfully so, Stephen. They keep calling me back, and it's because of the fans. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if it wasn't for the fans out there, and this community that Hallmark has, along with the actors that they've collected along the way and continue to support, is truly a unique kind of experience for all of us. The fans are the best fans in the world. They're so supportive, and Hallmark just continues to turn out incredible content, and they're doing things that are, they're constantly improving themselves and trying to be more inclusive and more of a well-rounded network. And the stories that they're telling are real stories now. They just did a movie not too long ago about a girl with Down syndrome, who was the number one on the call sheet. The movie was about her. And, they're doing movies, that are, they have this Mahogany Network that they've just launched, which is a branch of Hallmark that is, people of color, stories of people of color. It was based on the greeting cards that they had launched 30 plus years ago, and they're bringing these greeting cards to life now. And so it's truly an amazing network and an incredible community to be a part of. And I just also want to say, Stephen, I was in New York with that 2020 snowfall in New York. I was there shooting an indie film, and we were snowed in Brooklyn. I was living in Dumbo, and my wife and I had driven down from Montreal with at that time it was our baby, and we had our dog as well, and we were snowed in, and we let our dog off leash. We had a husky, and we were just walking through the streets of New York when there was no cars allowed on the road. They were just, everything was basically shut down for 24 hours. It was a really fun day to experience in New York.
But you didn't have to shovel though, right?
No, I didn't have to shovel. No, and I get my fill of shoveling. Look, I'm a Montrealer, so I've done my fair share of shoveling. And I used to go down the street from my parents' place with my shovel, and I used to help neighbors get their cars out. It was like kind of like a workout for me too. But when I was in my mid-teens playing football, in pretty good shape, I would just walk down the street and help neighbors get their cars out when it would be a big snowfall. But snowfalls, there's a time and place for them. I appreciate them when I'm at a cottage, when I'm going skiing, but I definitely am done with the winters like you. I'm very happy to live in California, in Southern California, and I'm looking out at, the blue skies right now, and it's 65 out, outside, and it's only going to go up to about 75 today, blue skies, and I'm very happy with that in early November. And I love coming back here after spending 2 weeks. I usually spend 2 weeks in Montreal with my wife and kids every Christmas, and that's about as much as all we need in Montreal during that time.
I haven't been to your city in Canada. I love going to Canada. I've been to Canada before. Yet have to visit Montreal. In comparison,
oh man,
seriously,
it's an incredible city. It's arguably I'd say it's the best city in North America.
Really?
It's so dynamic. Oh yeah, the history of Montreal. The 400th anniversary was around 5-6 years ago, and so it's one of the oldest cities, and it's the architecture, the food. Anthony Bourdain, the acclaimed food critic,
Yes.
his top 5 restaurants in the world, the top 2 of those restaurants were in Montreal, and so you could just eat your way through the city. It's a big city that feels very small. Everything is walking distance. Old Montreal is unlike anything that you'd get in North America. It's Old Montreal is about 20 blocks by 20 blocks of cobblestone streets, and it's right on the water, and it's these beautiful big brick buildings that were built, at the turn of the century. And there's a lot of history in Montreal when it comes to, they called it the Golden Square Mile. And in World War I, at that time, it was the wealthiest people in all of Canada lived in this 1 square mile. And they all sent their kids, their sons, off to fight in World War I. And about 50% of these kids didn't come back. From Passchendaele was the big fight during that time. But basically, in that 1 square mile, if you think all the money in Canada was basically there, from logging and banking and fur trades and, everything that was basic, and railroad, obviously the railroad, because it was the one port that was coming in the East Coast. So everything was being shipped out of Montreal. But anyways, Montreal's a great place. Everyone everyone listening to the radio, to 98.5, visit Montreal. It's a great place.
I'm seriously, because of you and being inspired by you, I'm really up for it. I've heard great things. And is Mr. Bourdain's, is his restaurant still there?
I don't know. It's a good question. I'm not sure.
Well,
I do know.
Go ahead.
I do know that what's his name? From Hell's Kitchen. What's the chef's name?
Oh,
From Hell's Kitchen, that show, the TV show.
Oh,
the British guy.
Yeah. Shoot.
Yeah. What's his name again?
Gordon Ramsay.
Gordon Ramsay. He opened up because Montreal has its Portuguese chicken is a really big thing in Montreal. The rotisserie chicken, but these rotisseries have been around for 100 years. Spinning the same spinning chickens, and it's the flavor is in the rotisserie. It's like it's baked into the walls of the rotisserie, and also it's these hole in the wall spot that you get these fresh cut fries and Portuguese chicken and the sauces and all that stuff. But Gordon Ramsay tried to open up a high end Portuguese chicken restaurant with a Montreal restaurateur, and the place closed their doors within 6 months. Nobody came, and people came, they tried it, but it got terrible reviews. And it's just, the city is so authentic to itself. It's you can't, you can't try to come in and polish things up and, and turn it into some sort of, Hollywood-esque or, manufactured kind of feeling restaurant. It's got to be true to the city, and it's, so it's also a very tough city for restaurateurs and restaurants.
And to go back now, would you ever know that the pandemic happened there, or is it a life and lifestyle and that Montreal vibe again?
Yes, from my past trip there, it's back. Everything's back. In Canada, the hardest hit provinces were Ontario. Ontario shut down hard. They and BC was pretty strict on all of their COVID protocols as well. But Montreal was a little bit, I think it's the French culture. I think they were just a little bit more, willing to go out and take a bit of a risk. But it's back. It's back. From my bit of experience being back there now in the summertime, it didn't feel like there was a pandemic there.
And what is travel like? Are you still and I haven't flown in a while, to be honest. I haven't flown since I was brought back here in January. Actually, no, I didn't. So let me rephrase. Let me take a couple steps back. No, I did fly. So God, you know what it's like. We travel so much in our industry. So it's been about a year. Is mask still mandated, and what is it like to cross the borders to go into Canada from the States and to come back? Do we still need to do COVID? What's testing? What's happening?
Yeah, no. So actually, they had removed the mask mandate last job that I was there. So it was September 1st that they removed the mask mandate and vaccine protocol and your vaccines. So basically, you can travel back and forth now. Every time I'd fly up to Canada, all Canadian airlines up until September 1st, you had to wear a mask on the airline. Now it's optional, like the U.S. And you don't need to show your vaccine passport when you go into Canada anymore. Wow. So no, they've removed everything. Everything's lifted.
And what about coming back in?
Same deal.
Really?
Coming back into the U.S. was always, for the past 2.5 years, it was just, they'd welcome me with open arms.
Wow.
There was no, So, coming back into the U.S. was not the issue. It was going to Canada that you were always a little nervous about whether or not you were going to be pulled aside and go into secondary kind of COVID testing. And so visit Canada, everybody. Go up to Canada. We'll welcome you, or they'll welcome you with open arms.
Absolutely. Seriously, I definitely want to. I want that experience. I mean, your city of Montreal has always had, in my world and reality, the reviews and remarks and comments and experiences of your home city has always been exactly what you said.
Yeah, it does not disappoint. That's for sure. I love where I'm from.
I had this thought. Where was I going to go? Oh yes, you reminded me. Thank you, of the pandemic. During that time, I believe you were actually still here in the States, where some of my friends were stuck in Paris, the UK, Australia, and they couldn't come back. So what was life like, during that time? You were still in LA? Were you still working? How was the audition process? Were you doing everything via Skype or Zoom? What was happening with you?
Yeah, well, going back to how fortunate I have been with working for Hallmark, I had a deal with Hallmark at that time where I had a couple picture deal with them. It's, Hallmark is kind of the closest thing to this old studio world where, they used to give, Humphrey Bogarts of the world, these multi-picture deals for the studios. And so Hallmark has done that now with their actors, with a few of their actors. And so it was right before the pandemic that I had signed on to do a studio deal with them. And so, man, it was the right place, the right time, and so fortunate to have had this put in place before the pandemic started. I think, most of my friends who are 40-year-old, male actors were quitting the industry because, it was a time when you couldn't go into the room. You were booking everything off of tape, and most of the time they were hiring names, stars, like star names were doing smaller projects. And that's how it is. It surprises me always how many, stars are doing these smaller roles in movies when there's so many talented actors out there that can't buy a job, and they can't, but, I guess it was more reassuring, I guess, to the casting people when they would rather hire somebody that has this track record than hire somebody off of a tape when they didn't really know their personality. Because I think that's a big asset to be able to go in the room. I think I've booked back in the day when I was going into the room a lot more. I booked jobs because they saw who I was as a person first, and then I would go into my performance, and they could see potentially that I was a decent person to work with, and I could take direction, and, but you can't take direction when you're going on tape. You just have to put your best work out there and mail it in or send it in. And so, look, I was very fortunate. I was the first actor back during the pandemic. I was actually the first actor back in the industry. I shot the first movie back, and Hallmark was trying to basically, be the first ones to do the, to lay out the groundwork for what it looks like to come back to shooting movies again. And so they rented me a car. I shot a movie with Alicia Witt, great actress in Utah, and it was a Christmas movie. And we shot it in June, I believe. It was beginning of June of 2020, and fortunately, nobody got sick. We were the pioneers, kind of SAG was the Screen Actor Guild was looking at us with a microscope, just making sure that everything that we were doing was relatively safe, because they had no blueprint of how this was going to work. People still didn't know, how to approach this. And so I went to work and said, hey, look, tell me what to do. Tell me where to be. I want to make sure that I'm making everybody feel safe on set. And, let's just walk away from this project safe and getting a movie under our belt, and, having this be kind of the blueprint of how things should move forward in the industry. So, I was able to work. I was the first one back. Things were pretty hunky-dory for me during that time, I have to say.
You're on the go because you are a dad. So what was how did you find balance being a father and a husband throughout all that?
Well, there was a no news policy in our house, so the kids were not exposed to anything COVID related. Basically, when you walked in the doors of our house, you didn't even know COVID existed. So that's one thing where, I spent hours in our front yard, doing re-landscaping, basically our front yard and our backyard with my son. Our youngest was still very much a baby, so my wife was kind of like nesting in the house with him. And also we had my niece, which was such a, it's always going to go down as a very memorable time, actually, because my niece, who was 19 years old at that time, lived with us. She lived with us for 5 months, and so she was staying with us. She helped me with all the landscaping stuff, and my son West, my 7-year-old now, he was outside in the front yard, and we just did yard work. We did yard work. We listened to music. We watched movies, and there was just no news and no talk of COVID and no talk of, we wanted to make sure that our kids were sheltered from it. Because there was no point at their age. There was no point in scaring them, and so that's how we kept balance.
Now that's very extremely smart. I like that no news policy. And it really brought back, I'm sure, like that type of Hallmark type of feel of, real family tradition and connection.
Absolutely. Yes.
I
yeah, it did.
I don't want to go. I know you've got a lot to share. Once again, we've got a lot to catch up on. I know we've spoken, privately, but at the same time, before we, go in to talk about your new film, A Maple Valley Christmas, which premieres tonight on the Hallmark Channel. You have 10 p.m., 9 Central. I want to talk about, we got to go back to your juice. I want to get that in, not that we would forget, but, speaking of transition and everything else, you have really been busy. Still a lot of production going on. I want to thank you. I had the great opportunity to try Little West cold pressed juice. Extraordinary. Loving I believe it was the ginger that I had, which was my favorite. What has it been like in people's lives and from the pandemic and now, like, what have people been doing to stay refreshed and really, especially during a time of pandemic, people had reevaluated their nutrition and their life and lifestyle and really taking more responsibility of doing better for themselves and what they're putting in their mouths and what they're feeding their kids. Tell us about that. What's life been like with Little West cold pressed juice, and where is it now, and where can everyone find it?
Yeah. It's a great question. And also, yes, there's, everybody during that time was reevaluating. And I think there was a huge demand at the grocery store for products like Little West. There was what we found at the time. There was a handful of juice companies that had been on the market for a long time, owned by Pepsi, Coca-Cola, we call them the gateway juice, where it's just, people will drink it and then they'll go, oh, you know what, this is pretty good. But then they'll turn the bottle around. They'll say, oh, there's 32 grams of sugar in this bottle. So what our juice company does, we're the lowest sugar juice in the country. Our juices have the lowest sugar content in them, and it's based on we don't add anything to them. All it is fruits and vegetables pressed small batch. When I say small batch, it's basically 50 to 100 juices at a time. We juice all of the produce at one time together. A lot of juice companies, what they'll do is they'll juice kale separate, apple separate, and they'll fill it by percentage. But we put it all together, so it's basically like a party of all these vegetables going into the bottle at the same time. And it creates a much better flavor, much better color, and it's it just feels fresher. And the way we source all of our vegetables locally in California. And so consumers nowadays, they're a much more educated consumer, especially when you're talking about California. This is like this is the the center of the universe when it comes to health and wellness. So people will ask questions. They want information on your products. They read the bottles and they read the packaging, and then they'll do their own research. So we're super transparent in everything we do with Little West. We want people to know where we're sourcing our vegetables, how we're producing our product, why we do what we do. Why our sugar content's a little lower. Like, we have a perfect example is we have this watermelon juice, which was our son's favorite juice back in the day when we first started the company. It's watermelon, watermelon rind because of the potassium. So we add a bit of the watermelon rind to it. So it's not a super sweet watermelon juice. It's got a little bit of a tartness to it. Mint, lime. And what we did with that now, it used to be 14 grams of sugar. We cut it with jicama. So we put a lot of jicama in there now, and we actually add strawberry to still keep that sweetness in there up, but it cut the sugar by 7 grams. So it's for the entire bottle, it's 7 grams now for that entire bottle of juice, 12 ounces of juice. But these are the little tricks of the trade that we do to help lower sugar content. We also my wife and I are ex-athletes, so we want the health benefits to be first and foremost in these juices. And obviously taste, people aren't going to buy it if it doesn't taste great. But the pandemic, we, with some of these gateway juice companies, the Odwalas and Bolthouse Farms of the world, Suja, they gave us the ability to, our customer base is, we work with some of the biggest tech companies in the world. We work with Netflix. We just started working with Peloton. And we do a lot of corporate. We do a lot of hotels. We service about 200 or so hotels up and down the California coast. And so when the pandemic hit, obviously, that accounted for about 60% of our business, was all these hotels and corporate headquarters. So we had to pivot pretty quickly. We weren't in Whole Foods. We weren't in some of these larger grocery store chains. We did work with grocery stores, but more specialty markets and a bunch of local grocery stores around Los Angeles here. So we pushed really hard to get into Whole Foods during that time, and Whole Foods agreed to take us on. And because they were reevaluating the products that were higher in sugar, that didn't necessarily have the health benefits that we have in our juice. So, we got into Whole Foods during the pandemic because of exactly what you're saying, how people are reevaluating and just reassessing what they're putting into their bodies. And then it was, business it was really tough. We got through a very, very tough time. We had the PPP loan. We had a disaster relief loan. We were running on fumes. And then we got into Whole Foods. We had enough money to do a production for all 64 stores that we got into in Arizona, Nevada, and Southern California. And then juice started flying off the shelf, and Whole Foods became we have been doing incredibly well at Whole Foods now. And funny enough, one of our juices called the Detox Greens, which is a very unique flavor. It's E3 Live, spirulina, which you don't usually get in juices, kale, fennel, cucumber, and I'm missing a few ingredients in there, but anyways, it's a very unique flavor that became our number one selling SKU at Whole Foods. And so these are the types of juices that consumers are looking, and that's we didn't push it any more than our other juices. This is just what's on the shelf at Whole Foods. So you can buy Little West now. We also really pushed heavily in our e-com, so you can get it. We ship across the country. And for all the listeners here for the show, Stephen, there's a promo code called Friends and Family 15. It's all capital letters with the ampersand sign, Friends and Family 15. So if you want to buy your Little West juice, put in the promo code, go to littlewest.com, and you can purchase, try a sample. I would suggest getting the sampler kit first, because and I think that's the one that I sent you, Stephen, so you can try all the flavors.
Yeah.
We have 11 different flavors, so you can try all the flavors and then see what you gravitate towards. But my wife and I start every day with a green juice.
And that's Friends, and you got to do the @ sign.
Exactly. The Friends and the ampersand.
The
sign.
Thank you. I'm writing that down.
Family 15, all capital letters.
All caps. Once again, thank you to everyone that's tuning in live, especially my UK family. Love you guys so much. If you have a question or anything for Andrew, or anything that you want to share at all, head on over to power985.com. Click the bottom right-hand icon. Send us a message. We did get a message. I'm going to read it. And also you can, send us messages on the iOS or Android app as well. So if you have the Power 98.5 satellite radio app, just click that bottom right hand icon. It's like magenta or color like that. Click that, send us a message. You know, we are very interactive, real time. We will get that message quickly. And what I love most is what we did not share, and to get in, because you shared a lot of great information. And once again, use the code friends and family. You got to use the and sign. That's on number 7. You got to use that sign there. I believe it's shift 7. Friends and family 15, all caps. And a big thank you. Christy from Vermont said that she does not have a local Whole Foods, so you can easily go to, and thank you to my assistant Christina, you can go to littlewest.com to order. So if you have no local Whole Foods or a grocery store or a place that carries Little West, littlewest.com. Use the promo code that Andrew was just sharing, friends and family 15, all caps, and you have to use the and sign, which is on the number 7 on your keyboard. So just shift 7. Once again, also free shipping on orders over $80. And this is a Thanksgiving special I'm seeing on the website right now. So thank you to Christy from Vermont for that question. You got
Thanks,
it before,
Christy.
before I was even going to go there. Yeah,
we are going to be in the East Coast very soon, though, with Whole Foods. We're pushing right now to do Whole Foods nationally, and we just signed on with the distributor that's going to be able to take us across the country. It's called UNFI. People might see their trucks around, but they're one of the biggest distributors of natural foods in the country, and we just started working with them. Very exciting. And so the plan is to be a Whole Foods brand nationwide. That's
awesome. And with the promo code, is there a limited time of when we can use that, or what?
Nope. It's open-ended.
Seriously?
Yep.
Oh, wow. So, I mean, that's not just like a Thanksgiving or holiday special. Like if we go into February of next year and somebody wants to order, they can use that.
Yeah, they can use that code.
Wow. All right, I'm saving that. Yeah, that introductory pack, that was great. And I believe it was the ginger apple lemon juice. I love anything ginger.
That one has the cult following. It's a great juice. It's 50% Fuji apple, 50% Granny Smith apple. So you get the sweetness from the Fuji and the tartness from the Granny Smith, and then tons of ginger. When we were creating the juice, we added a lot of ginger, and then we tried it. We're like, you know what? We should add way more ginger than what people would expect in here.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what gave us the name, the ginger snap. That's that snap that you get at the end of the flavor. And then there's lemon in there as well.
I eat fresh cut ginger every day, at least twice a day.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great for you.
Every day. And I really appreciate you and Little West once again. Christy, thank you again for the question. I'm glad my listeners are ahead of things before I am at times, before I get in there. Littlewest.com, use all caps, friends and family 15, and you got to use the and sign, which is on a number 7, so shift 7, friends and family, all caps 15. Yeah, it's I appreciate you because we so desperately, especially with the way food is, especially here in America, need more products like Little West because you can't even buy vitamins. I love anything liquid, especially liquid vitamins. It's got like sugar in it, and then added sugars and all this stuff. It's like, can I please find something that is not loaded with chemicals and processed garbage?
I know. Yeah, no, it's tough. It's tough. And that's the thing. I think, consumers and people going into grocery stores, remember to turn the package over and look at the ingredient list, because not a lot of people look at the ingredient list. They'll look on the front, and the front of a package on any packaging can say all the buzzwords and all the things that they think consumers would want to hear, and then all of a sudden you turn the package over and you go, oh my gosh, wow, this is cane sugar is the number one ingredient, or hydrogenated vegetable oil, or there's things that they try to sneak into our packaging that are just terrible for you. A perfect example, because it's my industry, is juice. Our labels, what you see on the front of our labels is what you get on the back of the labels, and that's what I'm talking about, transparency. You go and flip over a bottle of another juice company, and most likely you'll see spinach juice, kale juice. You'll see, and so when you see kale juice or spinach juice, it means that they're buying frozen bricks of pre-pasteurized juice, and they're thawing it, and then they're putting that in the bottle because it's a lot less expensive than getting a fresh head of kale. And we use local family farms. We go one step further. We don't use USDA certified organics because we use family farms that actually chose not to go the USDA certified organic route. They actually have better farming practices than USDA certified. So we support these local family farms, and we purchase our kale and pallets of kale and apples and all these other ingredients we use, and we basically juice that within 48 hours from them being harvested. So you get it's the ingredients in the front are the exact same on the back, and it's not juice. It's not like kale juice, spinach juice. It's actual kale, the head of kale, and so that's just I would remind people to turn the package over, to turn your packaging over when you go to purchase something, and look at the ingredient list and just go through it and do your own. Like, we have Google at our fingertips now. Just Google if you don't know what a word is. When you can't, they always say, right, when you can't pronounce the word, you probably shouldn't put it in your body. So just turn your packaging over. Your family will thank you for it. Your body will thank you for it. And it's little changes like that we can do, that we can make in our lives that pay dividends later on.
Absolutely. And I can relate to you and agree with you, Andrew, to the fact that when we think about local farming, like I come from the New Jersey area, right on the border of Pennsylvania, and that's why we're the Garden State. We are all farmland. There's a lot more farmland than what people know or recognize New Jersey as, because they think of Trenton or Newark. That's just a small little teeny tiny part of Jersey. Jersey is mostly farm country land. And so I know exactly what you're talking about when you mention about, local farm produce put into these juices. Also, what I love is there's no added sugars. So what I also really respect, even with the carrot, orange, ginger, turmeric, which I absolutely love, is there's like no added sugars. Also, I look at the fiber, and I would strongly recommend anyone, as you're turning anything over and looking at the label, is if you don't see fiber, and it supposedly has, content, like vegetables and things that we know has fiber in there, that's a problem. Why is there a 0 on fiber if it's got fruits and vegetables in it?
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to be maneuvering now into getting to the heart and the embodiment about Andrew Walker, to talk about A Maple Valley Christmas. Airs tonight on a Hallmark channel at 10 p.m., 9 Central. But once again, head on over to littlewest.com, all caps. Use the code, thanks to Andrew, Friends and Family 15. You got to use the @, so shift 7, and that's littlewest.com. We're going to go ahead and play this awesome clip that was recently posted on Andrew's Instagram. You can go to Andrew's Instagram at AWALKK35. Let's go ahead and play this clip, please.
I pop into town and Love ensues.
The first time she sees him is an unusual circumstance. What are you doing out in these woods?
Just had some snow in your hair.
She just goes for it. Yeah, they have that instantaneous connection and sort of fireworks immediately.
That's exciting.
It's wonderful that it's happening at Christmas.
You guys doing something?
Hanging out?
Mm-hmm.
Just voluntarily hanging out with relatives for fun.
That's what we do.
I've heard of this, but I've never witnessed it.
Yeah.
Kind of the two different worlds colliding.
But you think you can handle this?
Oh yeah, I can handle it. Christmas makes everything that much more dramatic and beautiful. You know, ever since I met you, I feel different.
A Maple Valley Christmas. All new Saturday, November 5th at 10 on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries.
I love that. And you look timeless. I'm telling you, you never age. If anybody ever accuses you of being a vampire, take that as a compliment.
Thank you, Stephen.
You're welcome. Seriously, you do. You look like extraordinary. And thanks to Marcos Papadopoulos, he has announced you as the acclaimed Hallmark actor, Mr.
I
Andy.
know, Marcos. Wow. Look at that. I don't know
God.
if I deserve that title.
Oh,
but I'll
you
take
do.
it from Marcos.
Take it. You're a vampire that's an acclaimed Hallmark actor. And that's in a good way. No, I'm going to tell you, if they ever did another Twilight series, boy, they got to put you in that.
Oh, I'd love that. I'll take that.
Have you ever done films like that, something like a Twilight or like a suspense or thriller?
I have, my early on in my career, well, early on, I've been doing this for 30 years now, but in my mid-20s, I did a lot of Lifetime movies, and I did a lot of these suspense Lifetime movies where I played, you thought that I was the bad guy that turns out to save the day. These typical kind of Lifetime movies. But I did probably one of the jobs that I'm probably the most proud of to date, or one of that I'm most proud of to date, is a movie called Steel Toes. And it was about a neo-Nazi skinhead. And I shot that when I was in my early 30s. And it was at a time when I was deciding whether or not I wanted to continue to act or not. It was, I hadn't worked in about a year, and I just could not buy myself a job. And I ended up shaving my head, as actors do when they're like, okay, I got to change up my look. I had just changed up my look. I shaved my head. I got this audition for, just out of the blue, got an audition for this skinhead role. And I didn't know anything about it really. But it had been a play that had been performed all around the world. And it just so happened that this incredible actor named David Strathairn, who was nominated for an Academy Award for his portrayal of Edward R. Murrow in Good Night and Good Luck. It was directed by George Clooney. And it was the same year that The Last King of Scotland was Forrest Whitaker was being nominated for an Academy Award as well. And come on, Forrest Whitaker had an insane performance in Last King of Scotland, but David Strathairn also had an unbelievable performance for this role in Good Night and Good Luck. He had done the play in Pittsburgh just about a year before, and he had told the playwright, and who also was the director of our film, he said, hey, if you ever decide to do a feature film of this, I'd love to be in it. And so I didn't know that David Strathairn had already been attached to do this movie. I ended up booking the role. It shot back in my hometown of Montreal, and we did about a month of rehearsals at this prison called St. Vincent de Paul Prison. It's the prison that was in the movie Catch Me If You Can, Gothica.
Yes.
It's the Parisian, it's the French prison that Leonardo DiCaprio is in at the very beginning of the movie. And Halle Berry shot Gothica there as well. So it's this amazing prison. Very spooky, very creepy place. It's a lot of things have happened there. If the walls could talk, they would have crazy stories. But anyways, we shot at that prison for 6 weeks. And yeah, the movie had garnered a lot of interest from film festivals. I won the Borso Best Actor for the Whistler Film Festival. I won a few awards for Best Actor in that film at a few film festivals, and it was really, it was a job that I was really proud of. And it's this portrayal of this young skinhead who murders a Middle Eastern man at the beginning of the film, and then I'm put in prison, awaiting my trial, and I have a Jewish attorney that's appointed to me. And he becomes this father figure, and he basically changes. He, kind of dismantles this kid's beliefs and belief system throughout the trial, and he meets with him on a daily basis, and basically breaks this kid down. And it was loosely based off a true story. Really beautiful story. Very tough to watch. It's for sure a heavy movie. It's not a Hallmark movie. But to answer that question, I did a lot of suspense, thriller, and in my earlier 30s, and also going back into my 20s. My bread and butter was actually half-hour comedy. That's what got me my visa to living in the States. I was working on a TV series called Maybe It's Me. That was the first job I booked in Los Angeles, and Fred Willard played my father on it. And so that was my first single camera comedy. Comedy is, kind of was my bread and butter. And, as we get to do, in this career, just a lot of different roles are thrown at me. And I just somehow over the course of the past 10 years have been doing the bulk of my career has been Hallmark movies, but which is great because it's a little bit of everything. You get a little comedy, you get some dramatic pieces, you get, it's very well-rounded stories that we're telling.
Well, and here's the thing, honestly, Andrew, you fit the mold that you can play any role, seriously, and it would not surprise me. One of the things that I would like to ask you is, it has been said that if someone were to do horror, that means your career is over. Do you believe that?
Well, I did maybe it was campy enough that only, my cousin, and that was it, probably saw the movie. But I did a horror movie. Going back 13 years ago. And I'm still working.
You're still working, see?
So I think we're in a different place now in the industry. I think that, they used to say if you did soap operas, your career, is over, and the same thing, if you do too much of one thing, your career is over. But at the end of the day, I want to act. I love acting. I love performance. So, and if a job comes my way, regardless of, I don't care what it is, if it's a story that I want to tell, and if it's, they say actors will pick a job based on three things. One is it a role that you want to play? Do you think it's going to benefit you in some way or another as an actor? Two, the people you work with. If it's a small role, but you're working with an Edward Norton or, Leonardo DiCaprio, then take that role. And three, if you need the money, do the job because you need the money, because that's realistically, that's a lot of the time, that's what, actors are. We don't work for 6 months or a year and a half, and sometimes you need a job for the money. So, I don't think there's any formula to the perfect acting career. I think that just you want to be able to stay stimulated in the work you do and be proud of the work you do. And I'm very proud of the movies I get to do now, and my whole family can watch them. I was saying to my son earlier, I'm like, okay, Wes, we're going to watch Maple Valley Christmas tonight, buddy. You excited? He's like, yeah, Dad, I can't wait. He watches all the movies with me. He watches all my movies. I do cover his eyes when I have the kiss with the other girls, because he just doesn't understand that at the age that he's at right now. Mm-hmm. But outside of that, he can sit there and watch all the movies with me.
I love it. Seriously, you are a true inspiration. I'm extraordinarily grateful to have you in my life and my path, and to call you my friend, and how kind you have always been, and generous when you sent me the Little West juice introductory package. And once again, everyone, head on over to littlewest.com, use the promo code all caps friends and family 15. You got to use the @, so shift 7. And thank you again to Christy from Vermont. Thank you, Christina, for the question. And then, this movie, A Maple Valley Christmas, tonight, 10 p.m., 9 Central. What are you most proud of when it comes to this film?
I'm most, first off, Stephen, thank you too. This is a, having you in my life too has just been such a blessing. And, I really appreciate you saying that, because it's, you people like you that are keeping me relevant in this, in my career. So I really, really appreciate you to always taking the time and having me on your show like this. But I'm most proud of, I'd say, this is a movie of contrast. There's two opposing worlds here. One is this love story, this like very deep, passionate love story between these two characters. And then what I'm most proud of is being able to portray this son, who never lived up to his father's expectations. And I was kind of, I felt like, when I read the script for the first time, it was, the Andrew side of me was going, man, why doesn't this kid like stand up for himself? Why doesn't he like just, tell his father where to go and just, and take the bull by the horns and like make a decision? And because that's kind of my way of approaching things would be, I'm going to do what I need to do in order to live the happiest life that I can live, regardless of whether or not my father's happy with me or not. But when you have been groomed to take over, because I was groomed by my father to take over this real estate firm, and he's this actor who I play opposite, great actor, and he plays the role very well, but he's not a nice guy, and I feel like I'm most proud of being this kind of catalyst, or this I guess looking at this guy through the lens of somebody who has lived through the experience of not living up to the expectations of a parent, and trying to play that in the most authentic and most pure and organic way possible. And so I feel like I'm most proud of the father-son relationship that we're portraying on camera, and trying to be as honest with this relationship as possible. And so I'm looking forward to seeing people, having people see how, where this character, Aaron Davenport is my character's name, how he kind of goes through this process with his father.
It was written in A Maple Valley Christmas. Erica Holden, played by Peyton Liss, has spent her whole life working toward a set of goals. Buy back half of Maple Valley Farm. Her mother, Ina, played by Frances Flanagan of the 27th Hour Day, had to sell and allow her mother to retire. What is the deep, further reason of where the connection comes from these characters in these roles and from your co-stars that you really get into and dive into this? Because it is not, would you consider it your traditional Hallmark Christmas film or movie? Or is this something that's got a deeper meaning, a deeper, message than what most people may even assume by?
Well, it absolutely has a deeper message. That's one of the reasons why I decided to do the movie as well. Fundamentally, or the formula of it is more of a traditional quote unquote Hallmark movie. But the nuance and the flow, the arc of the way the movie goes is there's a lot of elements to it, and relationship wise in the movie that makes it stand out and makes it different than a lot of the movies, a lot of the traditional Christmas movies that Hallmark has done and that I've done in the past.
We're going to go ahead and play the trailer.
I just have some news to share.
This Christmas deal
Dad, looking good.
Lean on them, okay?
was almost a sure thing. Until they met. Andrew Walker, Peyton List.
My family has been on this land for nearly a century.
I'll tell my dad it's a no-go.
You're throwing away this deal for a woman you just met. When I'm with you, I feel found.
A Maple Valley Christmas. On Hallmark Movies and Mysteries.
I'm excited. I'm going to be watching this, honestly. To interview you, to have you again with us on Power 98.5, Andrew, and to just know of your triumphs and successes and just, who you are as a man, a human being, an actor, a father, a husband, a Little West, and what you've done with that and the brilliance with it. You're just continuing to just inspire and just create opportunities for not only for yourself, but for so many people. And just, wow. I mean, your children, not only do they have such, great things to look forward to now, but the legacy that you're leaving them and what they're going to grow up into and to look forward of what they're going to do in the future is just extraordinary.
Well, thank you so much, Stephen. I really appreciate that. It means the world to me.
You are very welcome. Are there any shout outs that you would like to give at this time, Andrew?
Yeah, well, I want to shout out to you. I want to shout out to our good friend Marcos for making the introduction between you and I. This is, this has been a very fruitful relationship between the two of us. And I want to shout out, I have a fan page group, a Facebook fan page group. It's Andrew Walker Official, and I have some incredible fans, 15,000 people on this fan page group that get exclusive pictures and videos, and they're such a support group for myself and my family, and I just want to give a shout out to them. And Debbie Laribus, who runs the Facebook fan page group, she's really a special person. And yeah, no, I'm and Hallmark, of course, and all the fans. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for and the listeners to listening to today's program. You obviously where to tune into when to 98.5 and hear this wonderful human being, Stephen Cuoco, do what he does best. So thank you.
Thank you. And if you like, Andrew, just hold the line. We're going to close out.
Yep.
You will have a personal closeout once we're done. Thank you again for being with us today.
Thank you.
And big shout out once again to Christy from Vermont. Thanks again for the question. You can head on over to littlewest.com. Once again, littlewest.com. Use that promo code that Andrew was so generous to share. Friends and family, all caps. Friends and family 15. Once again, friends and family 15. You got to use the and sign. So shift 7. Friends and family, all caps. Friends and family 15. littlewest.com. A Maple Valley Christmas premieres tonight on the Hallmark Channel at 10 p.m., 9 Central. Don't miss it. I'm watching it. I'm watching my good friend Andrew. Looking forward to seeing this once again. He's timeless. He's classic. He's classy. He's sophisticated. And how exciting that I'm going to be able to enjoy to be able to watch this movie tonight on the Hallmark Channel at 10 p.m., 9 Central. Head on over to Andrew's page, AWALKK35. Once again, Andrew Walker. His Instagram handle is AWALKK35. And head on over to the Instagram page for Little West. And it's simple. Just Little West. And be able to find out all of the latest and greatest about Andrew at AWALKK35. And then, get that juice. I've had it. I'm not saying this because Andrew is one of my top favorites. Not being paid, no endorsements, nothing whatsoever. It is worth it. It's got fiber in it. It has no added sugars. You cannot go wrong. littlewest.com. And once again, tune in tonight, 10 p.m., 9 Central, a Maple Valley Christmas. Thank you again to everyone. Make sure you download the Power 98.5 satellite radio, iOS or Android app. Tune in on Alexa. Listen live anywhere, such as Live FM Radio, MyTuner, Streama, StreamItter.com, and many more. And you can always come home at power985.com. Send us a message, email us, contact@power985.com. And any questions, anything that you need or you're looking for in a world of entertainment, sports, news, you need any public relations advice, any advice whatsoever when we're looking at media placements, I also strongly recommend do not purchase media placements. If you're a politician, that's perfect for them. But if you would like to obtain credibility, be accredited, known as someone with great credentials in your industry, whether it's sports, TV, film, all of that, earn it. Don't be at the mercy of media. Don't be at the mercy of having to do paid media. You're telling the world and the public to invest in you. And you want to do that in a very organic, natural, holistic way, and to do it without those extra embellishments where you don't need to. And once again, I just always consider paid media to be very harmful to anyone that is building a brand and image and strengthening their reputation. Once again, everyone, thank you for tuning in to Live on Air with Stephen Cuoco. We do have another live interview with music artist Jason Marshall today at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern. And then we also have coming up Clayton Eckhart. He's going to be on November 10th at 11 a.m. Pacific. You all probably, and I would assume you would know Clayton. He was in sports. He is known from The Bachelorette, season 18, and the star of season 26 of The Bachelor. He played college football for Missouri and spent training camp with the Seattle Seahawks of the National Football League in 2016. Once again, Clayton Eckhart on November 10th, 11 a.m. Pacific. Jason Marshall today, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern. We're going to do a live music drop. And then we've got Terrence McKinney, Wednesday, November 9th at 11 a.m. Pacific. Thank you again, everyone. Hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe. And remember, littlewest.com. Promo code Friends and Family, all caps, Friends and Family 15, Friends and Family 15. Take care, everyone.
Friend us on your socials and let's connect.